Welcome back to CryptosRUs. I am George. We're all George. So, I want to talk about Bitcoin's next wave to the top of this cycle. So, I believe we are in that next wave, even though Bitcoin did not pump right back up above 60, but I do believe we're in it. So, let me show you what I'm talking about. Talk about what's going on with Bitcoin, and there are several altcoins that are doing very well today, including Avalanche, who has formed another high. So let's talk about it. So as always, smash a like, subscribe to the channel if you are new. 2 streams almost every day, 11:30 and 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. So make sure you hit that notification bell and follow me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and check out all the latest news, article, and guides at CryptosRUs.com. Welcome, guys. Welcome. Happy Saturday morning, afternoon. I don't know where you are, but you know what? Today, kind of stagnant. Last night, we had a bit more movement. We had Bitcoin go as high as 58.9 or 59,000. Now we come back down a little bit, but that's okay. That's okay because I do have something to show you guys that is clear as day that we are in this next wave and we have seen similar situations. But overall, Bitcoin is right under 58,000 right now. And if you look at altcoins, well, some are doing good. Some are still trying to recover. But of course, you have someone like Avalanche that continues to form new highs. I've been telling you guys a lot about Avalanche. Just because it's a big cap, just because it's already in the top 15, does not mean it can't keep going. And it is still going. And you go down the list, there's several metaverse plays, NFT plays that are doing well. Tezos is doing pretty well today. You have Harmony that's doing really well today, up 15%. And you have someone like Gala that pumped up 60% for no apparent reason. Or maybe there is a reason, I just don't know, right? So you have some movers today, but overall today is kind of like a stagnant day. But that's okay. Slow and steady is what we want. Okay, slow and steady, recovery, growth, that's what we want. So there's less volatility and things are just kind of holding. And that's not a bad thing, right? All right, so this is what I want to show you guys. And this is a pretty telling chart and indicators of this next wave. Okay, going back to July and September and where we are now, right? This is not comparing previous cycles, but just this current cycle. And just looking at some very basic indicators such as RSI and stochastic RSI. And there's another one called CCI, right? This person laid it out. Look at it. RSI at a certain point, right around the 30s, is when Bitcoin bounces. And same thing with stochastic RSI, when it's at 0, basically, that's indicating a bottom. And then you look at CCI, which I'm not too familiar with, but anyways, when it's around that negative 100 to 200 range, it's showing that it's about to bounce. And why is that? Because all these indicators are showing if Bitcoin is oversold. It's as simple as that, right? So you look at it in July, we had a pretty good downturn, and then we had a huge run up. And back in July, that was when we were at 30,000, actually under 30,000. And then we got up to 50-something thousand. We came back down to 30,000, and you could see. And then we went up to 68,000, and now we came down to about 58,000, right? But take a look at what happened in September. Even though we had that bottom indicator, Bitcoin still went sideways for a little bit. You could see that it didn't immediately pump up. So it could be shaping like something similar, where we do see 1 week or so where we just go sideways and do nothing until this next wave. But nevertheless, I think we're in that wave. It doesn't mean it has to be that way. You could see we already have 2 green days. So it could mean that we're mimicking, the July portion, but just not to that extent. But we can certainly see that this week as well. But everything else, when you're looking at all these indicators and metrics, show that Bitcoin is ready to run. Liquidations are lower because derivatives are lower now, that we don't really have a lot of leverage plays right now. Options and futures, we just at least ended options last week. We do have futures this week, but options is what really drives the market these days, not so much futures. And you have other things like this, CryptoBurb. This is also, TA, but also shows that we are currently, if you're looking at just oversold, we are currently as oversold as Bitcoin in the 40s, right? So if you're looking at these things, we are ready to move up. We are ready to get into that next wave, or we are in that wave to hit a new high. I believe. I mean, everything is indicating towards that. Also, if you do compare, forget 2021, let's say if you compare our current cycle to 2017, you could see that in 2017, and I've mentioned this many times before, we had a little dip before a 300% run. So if you look at what right now in 2021, it's almost following it to the dot, to the T. I mean, you see the mid-July dip, right? End of September dip. This all correlates with these right here, July and September, right? Same times where Bitcoin dipped, and we had one in November, or actually mid-November. And now, if we're going to mimic 2017, this next wave will carry Bitcoin much, much higher. And if we follow 2017, that actually puts us right around 150, 160,000. So a little bit less than a 200,000 that some are anticipating that we could hit. But nevertheless, no complaints. I believe we're going to get above 100,000 afterwards. 120, 150, 200. They will all be gifts, right? The higher it goes, the greater it is. But just keep in mind that if it does have like a huge blow off top and we do shoot, say, past 200,000, you got to get ready because there could be a major correction afterwards. But if we just hit a conservative, and I say conservative, 120, 140, 150, I think that would be fantastic. And I do think there's a really, really, really good chance of that. So there you go. That's why I believe we're in the next wave, right? Definitely not time to be panicking. Bitcoin, where it is now, even though it's a little bit off from where the high was from, a few weeks ago, we are still in a very, very, very good spot. And I do believe that next wave is upon us. All right. Now, with that said, what about some other news? Well, there is one, and this is the Dex from Jack Dorsey. All right. Oh, hold on one second. So this was supposed to be a big thing. Because of Taproot, Bitcoin now has smart contract functionality. And Jack said he was going to come out with a DEX based on Bitcoin, right? But the thing is, he released a white paper that was really, really, really incomplete. In fact, people don't know if this is even based on Bitcoin at all, right? Within the white paper, there's a lot of questions. Is this DEX even running on top of Bitcoin? Is it using the built-in smart contracts? Because there's no indications that it is. And also, what's more concerning is there's a section in there that talks about how this DEX protocol is different than other DEXs because it doesn't utilize a trustless model. So it doesn't utilize atomic swaps. Does it use some kind of global order book or something? We don't know. But that's one of the good things about DEXs is that it is trustless, right? So now there's a lot of questions about whether or not this is as good as it seems, or this is just like another, Ethereum DEX that is going to be able to swap between Bitcoin and other crypto, right? We don't know. So I guess we'll have to wait and see, but this is supposed to be a huge thing because of Taproot. Now you're supposed to have native apps that's supposed to be running on top of it because it has smart contracts. Let's see what happens. But that is the latest news with that. Now, let's get to some altcoins, right? There's a lot of altcoins like Avalanche, Harmony, and there's many others that's doing well. Metaverse stuff, what's going on? Well, let's take a look at DeFi Llama, which shows you the total value locked in for all the major L1s and L2s out there. Now, something that is clear is that Avalanche's TVL keeps going up. In fact, you look at the last 7-day change, it is the only one in the top 15 that is in the green, and not just a little bit in the green, in double-digit green, and that's because Avalanche themselves, the AVAX token, has been going up, right? But if you look at this, 11.74, almost 12 billion. That's really, really close to Solana territory and not too far off from Binance Smart Chain territory, right? So I was looking at why Avalanche was going up today. No real reason other than their ecosystem is getting bigger. Bigger and bigger and bigger, which is why TVL is getting bigger. But here's the telling thing. If you look at this ratio, market cap to TVL, now this is like all over the place. But those of you guys that know about stocks, they're usually evaluated on PE ratio, right? Price to earnings. Although some tech stocks, PE ratio is like through the roof because people don't really care about earnings. They just care about growth. But in crypto world, right, we have market cap versus TVL. And it's not pure science, but if you look at, say, the top 10, you could see clearly which ones are overvalued and which ones are undervalued. So if you look at, let's say within the top 10, which is Ethereum, Binance, Solana, Avalanche, Terra, Tron, Phantom, Polygon, Arbitrum, and Waves. I'm surprised Waves is as high as it is. But if you look at the top 10, you can see Ethereum, the market cap to TVL is about 2.9. So that's a 2.9 ratio. But then you look at Binance, it's at 5-to-1. So if you look at that, Binance is definitely overvalued versus Ethereum, right? Because of how high the market cap is on Binance Smart Chain or BNB. But it's a little skewed because BNB has other features to make it valuable, such as discount trading fees and coin burning and a lot of other stuff that's built in. But nevertheless, if you just use this ratio, Binance looks like it's overvalued versus Ethereum. Solana at 4.43, if you just use this metric alone, looks like it's overvalued versus Ethereum. But you know what's not overvalued versus Ethereum is Avalanche. Despite the fact it has come up so much, based on the market cap itself, 2.31, which is lower than 2.91. So if you look at this, Avalanche is definitely undervalued versus Ethereum. And then you go down the list, someone like Terra, which I also support, it's even lower. Tron is even lower, though I'm not a fan of Tron at all. And then you have Phantom, and then you have Polygon. And Phantom looks like it's really undervalued. And same thing with Polygon. So again, this is not pure science. I know this is not really how to judge whether or not a project is undervalued or overvalued, because there are other things you have to worry about, whether or not there's inflation, if there's a cap, like distributions. I mean, there's a lot of things that you have to worry about, right? But if you purely look at this, Avalanche is definitely going in the right direction, and they look undervalued right now versus, say, Ethereum. So I think that is why Avalanche continues to go up, and why others have seemed to have stalled a little bit. For example, Solana seems to have stalled, even though they clawed back up above 200. They were like 220, 230 yesterday, but now they're coming back down again. So Solana seems to have lost some of that major momentum they had, and a lot of that seems to be flowing into someone like Avalanche at this point. But it's not just Avalanche. There's many others. For example, Harmony shot up today. Harmony has been stagnant the last few days, and then now they decided to join in the game and start going up. You can see barely up for the week, right? But Harmony continues to do well too, because if you look at the same thing, DeFi Llama, you'll see that Harmony's TVL has gone up 15% or 14% today and 22% for the week, right? So if you look at this, well, 6.7, this actually shows Harmony is overvalued, but that's why I said this is not pure science. But Harmony is going up in a big way because of their ecosystem. And it seems like DeFi Kingdoms, this play-to-earn games, is really what's driving Harmony at this point. DeFi Kingdoms alone has 400 million TVL locked in. Their circulating market cap is blowing up to 536 million. And a lot of people seem to really enjoy this game, and it's built on top of Harmony, right? So there's a lot of things going on. So when you have even one very, very popular game, it could definitely cause an effect on the chain that it's on, right? And I think DeFi Kingdoms is proving that for Harmony. So pretty good, pretty good. Now, what else is there? One that you don't see on here, Well, no, I take that back. You do see it, but it's just down the list. Like Elrond, for example. This is actually quite impressive. The TVL for Elrond is relatively small because they didn't really have a Dex with yield farming. But that is about to change. So their Meyer Dex is out, and they're about, they just launched farming. Okay, so yield farming, that's a big thing. Causes a lot of TVL to be locked in, right? So this could be a big thing for Elrond going forward. And because this new Dex, they have a 1.29 billion incentive program. That's a lot. That's a lot. So what they're going to do is basically incentivize everyone to come aboard their Dex and create farms, and create pools, and just build this up as much as they can, right? So this turns out to be a fantastic thing for Elrond, which I believe it will. When you're throwing this much money in there, of course, you go incentivize a lot of dApp makers to come aboard and a lot of, projects to get into their decks. So this could be a driving force for Elrond. Even though they have been doing well, they kind of stopped in a low 20s, I should say, right? So they're relatively big already, 7 billion, but can they definitely go up higher if the Dex and everything is successful? Yes. Yes. And you can see they've done really well in the last 30 days. Almost 47%, right? So Elrond may be another one to keep your eye on because they can be going up. It's pretty impressive that they're this high without a fully working Dex, but now they have that. Now something else I want to move on to is Matic. A lot of people have been asking me, why does Matic not go up? Why does not go up? You could see barely up 6% in the last 30 days, in the red for the last 90 days. That's really hard to do. That's really hard to do because you can see everything else, how much they've gone up in the last 90 days. So there is something going on with Matic. I don't know what. It just seems like people are suppressing it. People are not paying attention to it. I don't know. But you have so many dApps, so many NFT marketplaces, especially, moving on top of Polygon, one after another. And if you look at, say, the TVL for Polygon, they're up there too. And they are undervalued versus Ethereum too. So they're in the top 10. But it's very, very surprising they haven't moved, which could be a good thing, which means that when they are ready to move, that momentum could come in fiercely and drive it up really, really in a big way. Now, something else that relates to Polygon is unstoppable domains. Unstoppable domains, NFT, these are NFT-based top-level domain names. People don't realize that these top-level domain names are actually NFTs. Every single one is an NFT, like buy.crypto or, save on crypto, whatever it may be, right? These are all NFT names. And they have moved to Polygon. Unstoppable domains just moved from Ethereum to Polygon. So that means when you're creating a name, it is now feeless because Polygon is so cheap. There's no congestion. So this is good for Polygon and it's good for unstoppable domains. So if you wanted to get a new name, right, for either your wallet to make it really easy to send transactions or get your website to be using one of these crypto domain names, right? It's feeless to now create. You still have to pay for it, but it's feeless to create. Before, you had to do both. So there you go, if you guys are interested. And then also, there's a couple metaverse plays. Now, last night, because I was really bored, I didn't stream. I didn't have a video. But I was thinking about some of my top coins, some of the ones I'm most bullish on. In fact, I posted on YouTube for members only because I know a lot of you guys are members, right? And I wanted to thank you guys, and I kind of threw out a post for members only. But two of the coins I mentioned are metaverses. Like, for example, Enjin. I think Enjin is in that phase where it's ready to rock. We have seen Decentraland and Sandbox and others that are really blowing up because metaverses are getting really, really, really hot. And if you want to learn more about Decentraland, brand new article on CryptosRUs, so make sure you check it out. But someone like Enjin has been in this space for a long time. Play to earn games, NFTs, and now they have their new Infinity chain that is trying to become a parachain on Polkadot, and I do believe it will, right? But I think you put all this together, and their ERC20 standard, not ERC20, ERC standard, I forgot, it's like 1157 or something like that, is also being used by other projects too for their own custom tokens. So Enjin is actually really a sleeping giant, I believe. And I think they are still undervalued at this point, but yeah, I think they're really primed to go higher. All right, guys, that's pretty much it. Overall, you have some good altcoins. Bitcoin is still stagnant, but I believe this next wave is upon us. So, all right, let's do some Q&A. All right, scrolling up. Isn't Polygon Matic? Yes, it is Matic. That is their new name. They used to be just called Matic, but now they're called Polygon, but their symbol is still Matic. JMO says, how's ADA valued versus Ethereum? Well, considering there's no TVL locked in Cardano right now, I think you have your answer there. But we're all waiting. Sunday swap, all the pressures on Sunday swap. They promised that they were done. They're working with pools to release their decks. They said this 2 weeks ago. So we're in the second week, I think. So let's see if they can come out with the working decks. And if they can, it'll be absolutely huge for Cardano. I mean, man, to be down 26% in the last 90 days, that is, I know, very, very hard to live through. But keep in mind, it's still up 1,600% for the year. And Cardano tends to go through periods where it doesn't move. And right now, what's holding it back is that DEX. But that could be coming right around the corner. Do you expect a large year-end sell-off with all the institutional investors? No. I expect the opposite. I expect the sell-off, or the correction we're going to have, to be a lot calmer and tamer than before because of institutional investors. They know. They're not buying. Institutional investors, especially the really big guys, they're not buying to get rich. They're buying as a hedge against inflation. And they know inflation is not going to go away. It's never going to go away. In fact, it's going to get really, really bad in the near future. So I believe they are holding for long term. They're not going to go anywhere. What do you think about growth DeFi? I've never heard of it. Hey, George, everyone has been talking about render. Wonder if you had a look. I did take a look. And from my look, nothing has changed. The only thing that seems to be driving it up is they are now involved with Solana and their metaverse. Whatever that means. They didn't really clearly define it. But render is a decentralized computing play. But they use it with GPUs. I'm still not sold on that. I'm still not sold that people are leasing out their GPU time, which they would rather much use for mining Ethereum or something than contributing to render. And there's many other decentralized computing plays out there that have not done well. So I realized that, yeah, a lot of people have been talking about it, and I do believe that it is being pumped up. So those of you guys that got in, great. But the overall premise still I do not like. But you know what? Maybe they could do big things within the metaverse. Okay, maybe they can do big things. But right now, in terms of just cloud computing, none of them have done really well. Any news on VET? No, none that I saw recently. You just got to be patient with them. Punk's not dead. Yeah, I don't think it's dead. Polka City, I saw early on, and Tora, both of those I saw. I'm just neutral on them. There's really nothing to comment on. There will be farms that switch from mining to CPU rendering. Anyways, all that's still done on the blockchain, which is not an efficient way of moving massive amount of data. So that's the thing. Yeah, I'm still turned off by it. Just put it that way. Any thoughts on Cadena? Recently, I've been checking them out. No news. And some people are getting antsy, but keep in mind, Cadena was at $5 just a few weeks ago. So the fact that they're hovering around where they are now is perfectly normal. They need to take a breather. But if they do follow, like all the other projects, right, like Avalanche and Solana and others, where they just continue to execute and continue to come out with DeFi and NFT projects, and get people to really believe in a project, then yeah, it's going to continue to go up. So still early for Cadena. Someone contacted me on TikTok pretending to be you. I blocked them. There's a lot of people, just to warn you guys, a lot of impersonators on Telegram, on YouTube, on Instagram, and Facebook. I don't reach out to anyone, okay? So if you ever get a text or a message from me, know that it's fake. I will never reach out to you. And don't try to reach out to me on those social media too, because I see so many people say, hey, I saw you put your WhatsApp number. You know, I called you. I won't be doing that. I won't think about it. Why would I put a WhatsApp number for you to call, right? So be careful. There's a lot of impersonators, and it's not like I'm not trying to remove them, but there's 100 more every single day, and it's just impossible. So just be careful. Be careful. I mentioned about Flux. I like them because they're ties to Cadena. They've been around for a while, but I like their ties. Boson Protocol is the next Cadena. Boson Protocol, the one thing I like about Boson is I was looking into them. They're an NFT play where you can convert physical things into NFTs and NFTs for real things. So they have the redemption thing. But what I like is they're coming out with something that's integrated with Decentraland, because Decentraland is so big. It's the main metaverse. So I heard that they're going to come out with something called Portal, which allows people to make their physical things into NFTs, and so you could put into shops and so forth, and people could take those NFTs and redeem for real stuff. So I like that concept. But for everything else, I don't know if it's going to work, but for them to be, integrating with Decentraland, I think that's a big thing. I think that's a pretty smart idea. And just this morning, I was looking at what Facebook was actually working on, because I shouldn't call them Facebook, Meta, what they're working on in terms of metaverse. And I saw the coolest thing ever, that they created a robot hand, or it's not a robot hand, some kind of robotic glove, so that when you're wearing it, when you're actually grabbing an item in the virtual world, in the metaverse, or you're touching an item, you could actually feel it in the glove. So that blew my mind. That is crazy. Because that would be a next evolution, right? If you were living in a metaverse, you want to be able to feel the things in the metaverse, right? So that actually feels legit. It doesn't feel like you're just playing a game. And if you could wear gloves or have a helmet, that really, really immerses you into it, that would be really cool. So maybe Facebook is on to something. They already have Oculus, so maybe they could pair it up with Oculus and make it really cool. I need one of those gloves for NES. Yeah, I did watch Ready Player One. It wasn't as good as I thought it was. On a side note, I started binge watching the show called Suits on Amazon Prime. It's a lawyer show, but it's really, really good. And there's 9 seasons of it. So if you guys are bored, you guys want to binge watch something, go binge watch Suits. It's a really good show. Nothing to do with crypto, but it's good. Plan B still in play or no chance? At this point, it's very, very difficult, I believe, for Bitcoin to shoot from 58,000 to 98,000 within 10 days. But there's still an off chance. And what I've been saying is, so what if it's wrong? If it carries into December, who cares? We're a month off. This prediction was made from 6 months ago. And it actually has nothing to do with stock to flow. Just because it's wrong does not mean stock to flow is invalidated. Actually, that prediction is, according to him, the floor model. It has nothing to do with stock to flow. So we will get to 98,000. Whether or not it's November or December, it doesn't really matter. I believe we will hit it. Any news on Chainlink? No, not really. The thing that is really exciting about Chainlink overall right now is they have something called CCIP, which is a bridge. There are many, many, many chains out there. Almost every major layer 1 out there has a bridge into Chainlink. And Chainlink is creating a bridge that will bridge all those bridges together. So now, rather than having to build your own bridge, you simply have to connect to Chainlink, and now you're bridged to 10 different chains. So last count, I think it was actually 16 chains. So that is very exciting. Chainlink is not only the biggest oracle out there for data retrieval, but they want to become the biggest bridge out there, where you can go to one place and bridge to all major chains. And with that, you can pull liquidity, and you can, create the greatest dexes ever, and have cross-chain communication. I mean, that is massive. That's what Chainlink is trying to be right now. And I've heard of projects starting to talk about utilizing CCIP for that reason. So it is really amazing. So that's why I think Chainlink is definitely a must hold. No matter what, it's a must hold. All right, I think that's it. Yeah, that's it. All right, guys. Overall, we're in the next wave. So strap on, or strap in, I should say, and get ready for it, because I think good things are coming. All right, guys. Smash a like, subscribe to the channel. I'll see you guys tonight, 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. Chris, I don't know what your super chat is. Instead of saying, here's a tip, guys. Instead of saying you missed my super chat, which takes time for me to read because there's like a 15-second delay, just write what you wanted to ask in the first place. Otherwise, I'm not going to be able to answer. So Chris, ask it tonight. All right? Take care, guys. Bye-bye.